Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nifty Nuggets Drive-Thru. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel and like this video. If you want to find more information about us, you can follow us on Twitter @NuggetsNifty. And you can also download this episode on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We hope you enjoy the AMA.
To this AMA featuring MEE NFT. And here we have Helios, Fox, Born to Be Me, and Lab Branson from the project. What we like to do is we like to start off hearing a bit about yourselves, how you got into NFTs, what your role is in the project, and then we move on to the project itself. So if we could take turns and go through all four of you, that'd be great.
So Fox, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I can start, man. So my name's Fox, or Alex. So I am the head of marketing here at MEE NFT and Born to Be Me. I've been in NFTs since around August, September last year. Just getting into this space and just being around NFTs in general, with the aim to always kind of go across to the back end side of things for NFTs. And I came across Braxton and Daniel's videos for the brand back in January this year. Reached out to them and kind of just asked if they had a marketer, because the videos they were doing at the time just spoke to me as a marketing person, and luckily they didn't. So yeah, I've been working with the team ever since, just kind of building up our marketing strategies and tactics, and just helping out with the overall NFT side of things with what we've been building here. So that's my role.
Brax, you want to go?
Yes, sir. What's up, everyone? My name is Braxton, from Denver, Colorado. The last 8 years of my life, I've been playing professional baseball, so that's been my job. And just recently, I became a free agent, which was August of 2021, and that's when I decided to get into NFTs. I got into NFTs because I have been dealing with crypto since 2017, so I've always been trading crypto and charting crypto and whatnot. So NFTs just intrigued me, and I'm also the co-founder of MEE NFT. So me and Born to Be Me have been working together since right around the time I got in NFTs, which was August of 2021.
Sweet. And then Peter, go ahead and kind of give us a rundown, and then I'll go.
Beautiful. So I'm, again, the boring one on the team here. My name is Peter. Discord go by Helios. Let's see. So I'm a corporate governance geek. So a serial entrepreneur turned advisor. Been building companies for the last 12 years. Over the last, let's call it 5 years, raised a considerable amount of capital, probably $60 to $100 million in the last, call it 5 years. Over the last decade or so, seen some pretty incredible exits. We exited one for about $400 million back in 2018. So I like to build companies themselves. The project that backs the NFT drop, right? And I got involved with Daniel and Braxton, started hearing their story of what they were building, and it drew me in. Again, not just because of the art and the project for the drop itself, but because of the brand, the clothing brand that backs it, and their scaling revenue strategy and how they can solve a massive problem within the NFT space when it comes to providing high quality merch. But also their forward-looking vision of how we can tie the holders of the NFTs to the success of, again, not just the project, but the entity that's backing it. So my background, again, is FinOps legal. I make sure back of house is taken care of, so forward house can scale and run as fast and hard as they can. And that's a little bit about me, but we'll get into any Q&A down the road.
Sweet. And I'll just go ahead and finish this up. So my name's Daniel Talley. I'm the founder of MEE NFT. As Braxton kind of said, he's the co-founder. Similar to Braxton, I have an athletic background. I played Division I football for 5 years in college, and about a year and a half ago, I had my pro day up at Colorado University. I worked out for a couple professional teams, including like the Bucks and the Cowboys. And then the very next day, COVID-19 shut the entire country down. So like everyone here, kind of impacted, COVID impacted us all. So I was kind of at home, doing nothing, kind of figuring out what my next move was. And I've always had a passion about clothing, and I've always had a passion about, being an entrepreneur and starting my own business. So I started the clothing brand Born to Be Me about a year and a half ago. And me and Braxton were training at the same facility, and he kind of introduced me to, slowly but surely, he started planting the crypto seeds and the NFT seeds of, what was going on in the space, and kind of like how innovative it was and how exciting it was and how it was a new emerging market. So, he kind of got me involved. And then I know you said that we're going to do brief introductions, we can dive into the project. So that's how I kind of got involved in the space. Braxton kind of introduced me, and this is how we kind of like networked our way in here with our, unique marketing videos, kind of got us to this point. So that's kind of a brief introduction, and then we can kind of dive deeper on any other level that you want to, Mark.
Okay, great. That was perfect. So, what about? So we say a quick pitch of the project MEE NFT and what's its role in the space?
Yeah, sweet. So I'm going to go back to how we entered the space, because it's extremely unique. So when Braxton was introducing me to this NFT idea and what crypto was, he showed me one of his friends that had bought 612 of Gary Vee's book, 12 and a half. And, I was not involved in crypto or NFTs at the time. So my first question was, why would someone buy 612 books? And he kind of broke it down to me about how Gary Vee was doing this book game series, and how, NFTs was tied to the book games and this, that, and the other. And that he had this, friend that was trying to do something with the books, but he didn't really know what to do. And he's like, he knows that you're involved with a clothing brand. He's like, if he can think of anything, that he wants to do with them, let me know. So we came up with this whole scheme on, we were going to try and get Gary Vee's attention, and we're going to make this video saying, we bought 612 of your books, and we're going to design a t-shirt based off of your book, and we're going to integrate, an entire NFT into my clothing brand. And we came up with this idea, like we didn't know what it was going to do. We had 200 followers on Instagram at the time. And we made this whole, video, and we posted on Instagram, not really knowing what was going to happen. And 12 hours later, Gary Vee reposted the video on his Instagram story. His head of PR followed us a week later. And all of a sudden, I had people in our brand's DMs asking us, what our white paper was, what our utility was, what our art was, and this, that, and the other. And I had no idea what any of those words meant. So we had, this really great thing going for us with these marketing videos, and then we just didn't really have a backbone to anything NFTs because we didn't know what we were doing. So we kind of took the same idea of, these successful marketing videos that we had found, and we kind of said, okay, how can we make this work for us? So we just tailored them towards individuals and other projects in the space, and tried to get their attention the same way we got Gary Vee's attention. So we started making videos for Crypto Brando, Brett Malinowski, Kosher Plug, Bento, NFT Llama, etc. If you can think of any, project or community in the space, we probably made a video for them and tried to get their attention, and they were working. We were, we flew out to Arizona and sat down with, Brett, Sebastian Gorju, Brandon, about our NFT project and about, how we were marketing it and how we were, catching people's attention, because the way we were marketing our project was so, revolutionary, and no one was doing it. It was like an extraordinary outreach method. The similar to, NFT Llama is, we reached out to him when we had 6,000 followers on our Twitter. And I wanted to talk to him because I'm about to get into what our project is and what we're trying to do in the space. I said that, we had a really unique idea, and that we were looking for the right projects to partner with us up front. And, that's a big ask when you only have 6,000 followers on Twitter, and you're trying to partner with one of the most successful NFT projects, on the market right now currently. And NFT Llama saw the video. He reached back out to us. He DM'd me about 30 minutes after it was posted. He was like, I have to get on a call with you immediately. Added us on Discord, added his whole team. And then ever since, like after the phone call, we were partnered. So basically how we're entering the space is, we were a clothing brand, and I was running this clothing brand for a year and a half before I knew anything about NFTs. So in the Denver area and just in the clothing community, I was networking. And I ended up getting blessed with some very, very good plugs in, the clothing space and the manufacturing space. So we saw that the NFT space had a massive hole where, merch was. Every project at some point offers merchandise, and whether or not they deliver upon that merchandise is another discussion in and of itself. But when they do deliver on it, most of the merchandise, I would say 99.9% of the time, is very, very cheaply made. It's wholesale. It's print on demand. Not a lot of effort goes into it. And, we are a clothing brand, and we specialize in, high quality merch. Like I said, we were blessed enough to, get into contact with one of the best manufacturers for clothing in the entire world. We work with one of the manufacturers that produces some of the clothing pieces for Kith, Stussy, Rip and Dip, and some of the other top streetwear brands in the world. All of our clothing is cut and sew, 100% customizable. So how we're entering the scene is, we're partnering with projects that, have these long-term visions and have these long-term brands that they're trying to build. And we're providing exclusive, limited edition, highly collectible merchandise partnerships with the partnering communities. And that's a really big draw that NFT Llama saw on us, and that's a really big draw that our other partners saw on us as well. So we've officially partnered with, Logix. We've officially partnered with NFT Llama and Llamaverse. We've officially partnered with Bento Boy. And we have a couple other partnerships that we're about to announce this week. And yeah, that's kind of how we're hopping on the scene. And how it really works is we facilitate the entire manufacturing process, the entire, clothing design process, in collaboration with these projects. And how it will benefit our holders and their holders is, once the manufacturing of the clothing happens and we get the import duties and all that taken care of, we distribute the merch to our partnering project, and we keep back a certain small percent depending on the order size for our own community. So the only way you can have access to this clothing is if you have, a Llama token or a MEE token or an Logix token or a MEE token. So and then they just have to, distribute it exclusively among their community as well. So that's how we're kind of coming on the scene as a clothing side of things. And I'm going to touch on what Peter was kind of hinting at, and then we can kind of get into the whole thing. I know I'm kind of going on a tangent here. I kind of just like to get everyone filled in as much as I can. Peter is a master in emerging markets and business structure. And the way we're kind of revolutionizing a way into where he was kind of saying is the NFT holder will see success as the brand sees success and as the project sees success is we're filing a separate LLC that will hold a small percentage of the entire brand Born to Be Me. And that small percentage in that LLC will be owned by the token holders. And the token holders will see access to that LLC through the use of distributional revenue shares. And this is done through perpetuity, so it's not seen as a security. I know people always have questions. We've outlined these details in our other AMAs with Llamaverse, with Logix, with Deep End Research, etc. And I know people are going to have questions here, and I'll kind of let Peter kind of touch on that and how we're going to give access to the holders. But basically what that means is, as we scale as a Web 2 clothing brand and as a Web 3 NFT project brand, and as we see more revenue, as we see more success, a small percentage of that success will also go back into the NFT token holders through the use of distributional revenue shares. And yeah, so we're really excited, really blessed to be here. Can't wait to dive into everything during this AMA. That's kind of a brief rundown, and it's kind of the way we kind of get things kicked off.
I'm loving the fact that you have a real business behind what you're doing. It's not just an NFT drop. For the moment, if you don't mind, we can concentrate on the NFT dropping that you've got dropping soon. And if you could tell me first a bit more about the art of an NFT. Yeah,
so the art, it's kind of funny. Our art is very different. We were kind of aware that it was different, but when we were kind of deciding what we wanted to do with the art, we knew we wanted it to be a little different. There's the profile picture projects that everyone's seen, the pixel art, the kind of cute PFP wave, the anime metas. And when me and SoFox and Braxton kind of, were sitting down and deciding, what we wanted and what we were trying to do, we knew that we were a different NFT project. We knew that we were coming on the scene offering something very different. So we didn't want our art to be something, that the market had already been, keen to. So I draw a lot of inspiration from a lot of streetwear artists that I've already followed over the years. Bobby 100 is one of my favorite clothing designers. Again, I get a lot of inspiration from Kith. Cause is another streetwear character that I kind of drew inspiration from. So I kind of already had like a smorgasbord of Pinterest, posts, Instagram.
Sorry to interrupt. Could you just drop some sneak peeks maybe in the chat?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I can drop some in.
Audience can follow.
100%. Oh, so can you drop like in there?
I'll put some in there.
One's done it.
Yeah, no.
Keep on going.
Yeah, and then so basically, what we kind of knew that we were a clothing brand, so we wanted to highlight full body, make it very expressive, very relatable, but kind of like put a unique spin on it. So a mask is kind of our thing. So each one of our characters has like a unique mask that we're playing on, and then we kind of dressed them up in fashion outfits that we kind of liked. And the white gloves is a play on, again, like the Cause character that I drew inspiration from, and me and Braxton and SoFox kind of agreed on that. Sitting down in this sitting pose where we could highlight pants, socks, shoes, different types of upper garment wear, hairstyles, and masks. We just thought it was a really cool way, a really different way to express NFT art.
Okay, and who is your artist?
Aliens Graphics is our artist. He's in our Discord.
Okay, great.
We can. Oh, go ahead. Never mind.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say we can drop his ad in here as well.
And you are going to launch with this NFT. Is it a large collection or a small collection?
We're an under 5,000 token collection.
Okay, nice. And do you have any more details of the drop, the mint date and price, or is that still to be revealed?
Yeah, no. So the mint date is going to be the end of this month, and then the mint price is we're going to be a below 0.1 mint price.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Ooh.
And if I can pile on there, just again, we see a lot of these different projects come through, right? And what for me, pun intended, made me stand out is the concept of their drop of their mint of these NFTs, right? Less than 5,000 collection is really to bring in our community into the heart and soul of our brand. And the entity itself, and I'm always interested in the entity, but the entity itself is set up to scale and be successful, not depending on the mint of these NFTs. The mint of these NFTs is purely a way to bring that community together to support the brand and the project and the collection as it scales. And that for me is, again, so unique in this space and was just a breath of fresh air. And one of the reasons, again, when you asked what got you engaged with these guys, I mean, that's it for me. Is they're doing something absolutely new in a space that we have tons of pioneers, but we also have many that are doing just the same that everyone else is doing, right?
I think that's a very important point. Maybe you could just tell me more about the community that you're hoping to. I assume you've already started developing, and you hoping to build further. Yeah.
So Fox, I know you kind of like to talk about our community. Do you want to hop in here?
Yeah.
How we foster
Yeah. So with our marketing approach and stuff, like we wanted to take it all really organically and kind of maybe along a little bit more of the slower route. Like the community to us that we've built and hopefully will continue building is kind of the most important thing to us, and it kind of ties back into the whole ethos and the kind of reason behind the Web2 brand Born to Be Me, about everyone embracing who they are and what makes you different. And it's something that we've really tried to tie in to literally everything, every fiber of our project, right down to the art, down to our utility. That's what makes us different. So we've been trying to do things a little bit differently in our Discord with the way that we've been allocating whitelist roles, or MEE list roles as we call them, through our crown system. So people just drop in suggestions, fan art, memes, like what makes them unique. So I do close-up magic part-time as well, and that's one of the things that I like to talk about sometimes, that what makes me unique. And it's one of those things that we want to try and build and foster with our community as well, is kind of building everyone up, because that's one of the best things about the Web3 space, is that you can be talking to anyone from all over the world, and everyone's got completely different lives and things that make them different. So it's one of those things that we've really tried focusing on and really building is a really good, strong, solid community with our project.
And I think by focusing on a smaller collection, it somehow makes the community maybe more cohesive than, say, 10,000 people.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of works in with what we're trying to do, and the way that we're doing our clothing partnerships with our official partners is that everything that we do is, it's a limited run, exclusive kind of drop, and it's the same kind of way that we've been doing things as well with the collection size, and again with our community, making sure it's all really like you say, close knit, and everyone kind of knows each other. And I think Daniel, you can maybe touch on that as well, because I know that you and Braxton are in the Discord quite a lot as well, and I know there's something that our community really enjoys is speaking to you guys quite a lot. So
yeah, I can kind of touch on that really quick. When me and Braxton first started this, I didn't know anything about Discord or the way NFT Discords, project Discords worked. And to me, when me and Braxton started, whenever we, drop an invite code, or, even when, a week after, the entire building process of our Discord, we are the two constant main faces inside of our Discord in our time zones. Obviously, we take about 6 to 7 hours of sleep every night. Sometimes it's less. Web3 is kind of wild and hectic. But, when people come into our Discord, we're the first ones welcoming them. We're the first ones in VC. We're the first faces they see in VC with our video chats on. And that's something that people have really, really liked. We're still relatively small. We just got over 6,000 people in our Discord about maybe like 3 or 4 days ago. And when we do these Discord openings, we've been doing them a little longer recently for about 15 to 25 minutes. And people come in and they go, oh, like, so excited to be here. And like me and Braxton will be the ones replying to them, like, so dope you found your way in, like, love that you're here, can't wait to get to know you. And like, they're very taken back that like the founders are the ones like saying all these things, and the founders are the ones running the games, and the founders are the ones, in VC, connecting with people. Just the other day I was on VC and I was picking a restaurant to go to with my girlfriend with all the people in VC, and they were kind of helping me like select what we were going to order together and stuff. So it's been really fun. I think it's really important that, if you're trying to go for a smaller token collection and you're trying to build that community, that the founders and the head of the project are the people helping doing that. That's the part I really enjoy the most, honestly, is, every time we open the Discord, I never know who's going to join. I never know who I'm going to get the chance to know. So I look at it as a really exciting opportunity. And Braxton, I don't know if you want to add anything on top of that. I know you're kind of passionate about that as well, but yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because I've been in Discords before where I've never seen a founder in there, and I love connecting with people. So like, I feel like when you're building a project and you want people to be a part of the community, like you have to get to know them. So I enjoy getting to know people. I enjoy being in Discord and like getting to know people on a personal level, because you're able to connect with them, and then you guys are able to have like genuine conversations, which is super cool. So I enjoy doing all that stuff.
That's great. I mean, Nuggets here, we're one of the, I would like to say we're one of the best communities that I've come across actually in the space so far. So you should look around the Discord and maybe steal some stuff from us. You're welcome.
100%. Now that we're in here, I'm definitely going to do that now.
Okay. I'm an Illogics holder, and I've been listening to them raving about how good their merch is going to be. And then I do this AMA and I find out that you're the guys providing the merch. So maybe you could just give us more details about the clothing that you're providing and what sets it apart.
Yeah, so what's really interesting is Illogics kind of had their first merch drop well solidified before we came onto the scene, and they were still intrigued enough to officially partner with us. So they kind of have their first season of merch coming out, and I've seen it. The designs are really cool. It's a lot higher quality than a lot of the merch that you're seeing on the current market with, like, the basic diamond merch that kind of like dropped and everyone was disappointed about. But how we're kind of jumping on the scene and taking over, merchandise for our official partners, and then for everyone that, kind of comes into our project longer term, is we're fostering the relationship and nurturing the relationship initially by doing an exclusive merchandise drop, just to kind of kick off the partnership. And what's really sets our clothing apart from every other clothing line that's offered in the space with these projects is our manufacturer, again, is one of the best clothing manufacturers in the entire world. And what really sets it apart is it's not wholesale buying clothing. It's not I go on and pick from a catalog a t-shirt that I like or a hoodie that I like. The manufacturing that we're doing is called cut and sew manufacturing, and it's created from tech packs. So what that means is I have to sit down, and this is after the collaboration process happens with the design team of our partnering projects. I sit down with our tech pack designer, and we have to mold exactly every single detail that goes into, say, the exclusive first NFT llama or the llamaverse t-shirt drop. And what that means is the manufacturer can't make the clothes if I don't tell them how big the crew neck size is, how long the sleeves are, what type of hem is it? Is it a curved hem? Is it a straight hem? What type of material is it? What type of material blend is it? Is it 70-30? Is it 30-60? Is it ring spun cotton, Supima cotton, French terry cotton? Where are the embroidery details? How big are they? What type of ink is used on the ink print, etc. It's down to like the nitty gritty tag details, like the care tag, all of it. So if we don't tell them exactly what is going to go into the shirt, all the measurements, every type of design, tag, etc., then the shirt can't get made. And that offers a lot of room for customization and a lot of room for like brand expressiveness. That's what's super exciting is people sometimes want embroidered sleeve logos, or they want custom tags, or they want a print on the chest but a bigger print on the back. And with some of the wholesale print on demand sites that these projects are using, you can't do that. You don't get that. But also on top of that is the quality is just out of this world. And I mean, obviously you guys won't know because you're not holding the physical clothes in your hands just yet like llamas were. But what really threw them over the board is we, made that outreach video for them, and they were really interested in getting on a call with us. We had set one about 11 days from when that video was posted. And I just told them, I was like, okay, I'll call you guys in 11 days. We'll hop on. I know you guys are busy, but send me an address so I can send you our samples and you can see for yourself like that we're not playing around with like the quality of this clothing. I overnighted the package to them, and then about 30 minutes after it got delivered from UPS, they were back in the Discord saying, yo, we're trying to hop on a call right now. Like, let's get this ironed out. Like 11 days is way too long. I'm trying to work it out now. Like, the quality is just out of this world. The manufacturer, I can't even take credit for it. The manufacturer sources, the best type of cotton. They just do such great work. Again, they work with some of the top streetwear brands in the world. So that's what's really exciting about our partnerships. And, longer term, because, pre-mint, you kind of have to be careful of spreading your bandwidth too thin. You can't, come out with hoodies, t-shirts, hats, joggers, sweatshirts, etc. But that's what's exciting about these partnerships is, long term, the world is your oyster when it comes to the type of clothing you want to design. Is it, an oversized box t-shirt? Is it like a fashion fit t-shirt? Is it a hoodie, an oversized hoodie, a pair of joggers, sweat shorts, regular shorts, etc.? So that's kind of like where we're taking the clothing partnerships, and that's why a lot of people are getting excited for when we kind of reach out and show them what we have going.
In the future, you're going to actually have multiple manufacturers for different items, for different garments, or?
Yeah, so that's already being discussed. I already have my hands tied in a couple different manufacturers. I have a really good hat manufacturer, an accessory manufacturer. I don't even know the exact capabilities of the manufacturer we currently use in terms of, manufacturing garments aside from garments like bags or backpacks and stuff like that, just because I have never asked them to use something like that outside of our clothing. But we definitely are going to broaden our horizons when it comes to, because if we can do clothes and it comes out post mint, I mean, branded NFT project bags would be really sweet. And obviously hats. So yeah, we're definitely looking to expand to those areas, but right now we're gonna hyper focus on the clothing again to not spread our bandwidth very very thin and kind of just keep it all very focused in. And then but yeah, definitely gonna explore those options long term.
So an NFT project would just basically come to you and say, okay, we're looking for hoodies in these color, and this is the logos that we'd like to use. And then you take care of the rest, and the project doesn't have to worry anymore about that,
Yeah. So
correct?
Yeah, so that's basically like the kind of exciting part is like we sat down, and I'm still in the group chat with llamas, and we're kind of hyper focusing on the very, very fine details of their first shirt. But that's what's like really fun is like with these other print on demand places and these other wholesale catalogs, you don't get the amount of customization. You don't get that, expressiveness that you're looking for in your brand. And sometimes you're questioning the quality that comes through. So there's a lot of like question marks when it comes to your merch if you're going that route. But, we sit down and we kind of hone in on a design that they really like, and then they know that when it comes to where they want the tags, can they embroider things, can they ink press things, can they put custom tags in the neck, like how does the t-shirt fit, what kind of style can we do, all of that is up to them. So we kind of just sit down in collaboration and get all that going, and then when it's time to send the tech back, we handle the communication and the manufacturing process and the import duty process, etc., for them, and get the clothes made and facilitated and until they're ready to be shipped.
Okay, and then the clothes can be then, are they sent back to the US and then from the US distributed around the world?
Yeah, so the way we're doing it is, again, just for numbers' sake, if we were to, do the merch drop for the llamas, we manufacture, an exclusive limited edition llama verse t-shirt drop, and there's, 400 t-shirts, say. We keep 15% of that drop for our community to have access to, and then we ship the 85% of that t-shirt drop to the llamas wherever they want it shipped to for them to exclusively distribute. So how they distribute it exclusively to their community is 100% up to them, but how we distribute it upon our community is we're token gating a Shopify site. So in the fact that you can go onto it, the only way you have access to it is if you have the MEE token, and then the shipping processes that we have set up to the back end of a Shopify site allows us to ship throughout the world. Yes.
Okay, cool. So as a holder of your NFT, do I get the chance to purchase that those clothes? Now, is there any way that do I pay with ETH or dollars, or can I stake my NFT and earn tokens to pay, or how does that work?
No, I'm super excited you brought that up. So I'm going to let SoFox handle the second part of this question, and then I'm going to handle the first part of the question. So as of now, we've explored options to where paying with ETH, and right now the infrastructure and the back end to those distributions just don't really make sense. Shopify is a very clean way of doing things right now, and we've kind of been in talks with. We know that Shopify is integrating the wallet connection feature. They teased it in December of 2021, and it's May now. So eventually, yes, you're going to be able to pay with ETH, but right now, just for the sake of cohesiveness, seamlessness, and us being able to handle the orders, because through Shopify you go and pay through USD, and the printing label is bought through Shopify, and you can then ship it to wherever in the world depending on what address they put in, and they pay the shipping cost. So for the back end side of things, that's what makes the most sense for us right now, just because through like the crypto payments and through other stuff like that, there really isn't an infrastructure that is where we would like it to be for cohesiveness and seamlessness. But in terms of staking the NFT in order to buy it on marketplace through MEE tokenomics, so Fox, I'll kind of let you touch on that and why we're kind of excited about partnering with Logix longer term and what we're kind of doing there.
Yeah, so the Logix team and their team of devs are developing our entire project. So our smart contract, our website, our marketplace, everything like that as well. So we're in extensive talks. So I'm speaking with them quite regularly on our marketplace. So it will be like an allow-less marketplace, kind of like how Logix have got it running at the minute. I know that, Mark, you said you're a holder, so I'm assuming you're kind of aware of how their website and marketplace is running at the minute. So
it went live last weekend, and
yeah.
I must admit, I thought they handled it very well, very smooth, no crashes. Site held up. Can't complain. It was good experience.
Yeah, like I can't say how great their devs are. So we're super fortunate that we've got them working with us on that too. And the plan is we don't quite have a timeline on it at the moment. So it's like Daniel just touched on there, that the way that we're going to be doing things straight out of the bat really is kind of like a token gated Shopify website. But the view will be, and we will be having tokens and staking. Just like Logix does as well, to earn the MEE token, with the view to then have a certain number of those 15%, let's say, of Llama versus t-shirts available to our holders. We would then have a small percentage of that available to people to buy with the MEE token. with the rest then on the Shopify site. So that's just another kind of use case that we're going to have for our token as well. And also not just our partners close, but the close that we'll be coming out with to as MEE NFT for our holders, but also as the Web2 brand Born to Be Me as well. So
that's cool. So I assume it's going to be done in the same way as the Logic's Goop token, because that's interesting because it's not an ERC20 token.
Correct, yeah.
So you cannot exchange it for ETH. And that obviously has the advantage that it doesn't have an inherent price, which can reflect badly on the project if the token price isn't very high.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that was kind of very key to us as well. And I'm sure when we get into it a little bit later as well with the distribution of revenue shares, when Pete can touch on that one of the main things, for us, and one of the main things that we wanted to make sure we got down was to know that nothing that we offer would be seen as a security. And obviously with an ERC20, there's a bit of legality issues and stuff with the liquidity pools and etc. So it was key for us to kind of work on a way that we would do it without it being an ERC20 token. And obviously, like you say, the way that Illogics have done their Goop is exactly the same way that we're going to be doing our MEE token.
Okay, cool. So what I'd like to do is ask some questions for the audience, and then Peter can tell us more about the details of the revenue sharing and stuff. So
awesome.
I've got some questions here. First one from Tismi. Could you remind us of some basics? Is it minting on ETH or which chain, and the collection size?
Yeah, so it's an under 5,000 token collection, and it's on the Ethereum blockchain. And also, just we're going to drop a Discord invite, and we're releasing the very, very specific project information details inside of our Discord this week. We have it all planned for a rollout. So it's kind of vague-ish right now, under 5K, below 0.1. But all of those details, if you guys want to join the Discord link that we provide, you'll have all those details rolled out within this week.
Okay, great. Next question from Deathmax. There was a wave of tweets from you guys, like retweet and tag people, first X to get OG, but we never got an invite or got OG. Care to elaborate?
Yeah, so that was I remember that tweet when it went out. It was a very poorly worded tweet. I remember I addressed it numerous times throughout the day inside of that Discord. It was kind of one of those standards, react to this tweet. We'll be giving OGs out before our Discord hits 10K. And it could have been interpreted that every single person that interacted with the tweet was going to get OG, which is kind of a reach in some areas and aspects. But inside of our Discord, I handled that in VC. I handled that in the Discord numerous times, and I also made an announcement about it. So it was just kind of like a learning experience. It was also very early on in our marketing process that I had to be, very careful on how I worded tweets going forward in that aspect. And I apologize for that. If that happened to you and you interacted with that tweet and you're inside of our Discord, or if you're not, you'll get inside of our Discord after this. But I think that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. But I do apologize about that.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be giving us Nuggets a chance to get some whitelists, so that's cool too. Harry asked, you say you do something different. What is it you're doing different? Some kind of tech? Do you get clothing when you mint? What makes your NFT unique? So I think we've covered some of those questions, but...
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, again, what makes us different is like we're a completely 100% solely, clothing brand NFT project, and the fact that we're coming onto the scene in an aspect that no other project is coming onto the scene, and forming these partnerships, these exclusive merchandise collaboration partnerships with very established projects in the space, which no other project is doing. And it's starting with clothing now, but longer term, we don't really know the possibilities are endless when it comes down to, how our partnering projects can provide benefit and utility further down the road as we, nurture these relationships. So, starting with clothing, but who knows what Llama Logic's Bento's project and, the other projects that we're announcing later this week, what, they can offer us outside of, the clothing aspect of things. And again, another thing that makes us unique is the kind of business structure that we're setting up with the separate LLC and the distributional revenue shares through perpetuity and not through securities that, allows our NFT holders to see success as, the project and the brand see success as well.
Okay, cool. Buck asked, will there be mining or only crafting? I'm not quite sure I understand that question.
That might be a marketplace question. So, Fox, do you know anything about that?
No.
I think what he's hitting on is it a creator's economy? Are people able to create and sell within the marketplace? But I don't know if that applies specifically. This marketplace is all around the merchandise created in collaboration with the other projects that we have partnered with,
as well as this traditional marketplace, aspects in NFT marketplaces like Sophos touched on, with NFTs being there, raffles and whitelist spots, etc.
Okay. Clabo asks, how are you different from other clothing brands other than quality?
Oh, that's actually a really cool question. I think our Web 2 clothing brand is different from every other clothing brand aside from the quality, just because of, what the brand is and what it stands for. I started the brand Born to Be Me about 1.5 years ago, like I said. And, it's a brand that I have never seen another clothing brand with the message that this clothing brand has. It's all about, I'm very passionate about, allowing people to live in their own light, allowing people to embrace the person that they were born to be. And I had a very strong, feeling towards the way society was moving, especially with the social media. And, everyone, plugged into their phones all the time on Instagram and Twitter and, following their favorite celebrities, following their favorite influencers, etc. That, people were losing what made them different and what made them an individual. And everyone was trying to be like someone else, similar to how we kind of see, successful NFT projects come onto the scene. Everyone kind of, copies them, the free mint meta, the anime meta, etc. People were doing that within their own lives. They were, if I didn't have this amount of followers on Instagram, then I wasn't, worthy of being, a human being. And at the end of the day, like, we all bring things to the table that makes us different. And we all bring things to the table that, that makes us dope. And our differences are the things that we should celebrate and, not hide. So, and that's what, Born to Be Me is all about. We're a clothing brand that's all about, embracing the individual and allowing every single person, whether, you're this age or that age, you're from this country or that country, just every single person, the opportunity to live in their own light, love what makes them unique, and kind of just embrace every fact of an asset of, of who they were born to be.
So, as a question, the Born to Be Me brand, is it a web presence? Are there physical stores, or do you supply physical stores?
No, that's an e-commerce brand solely, and that's how early on in the journey. Again, like, I started the brand, about 1 year and some change ago. That Web 2 clothing brand is completely separate from the NFT project that we're doing. I had just networked my way into learning what NFTs were, and when I got into the space, I saw a massive need that needed to be filled, and a lot of room for innovation, which was, the merchandise area, and we kind of, finagled our way into, marketing ourselves very uniquely, being able to get people's attention, and ended up securing very, very big partnerships with NFT projects, again, with like Llama Logic's Bento, etc. The other ones are coming out. And that's kind of how we entered the scene. But aside from our NFT project, the clothing brand Born to Be Me is, a Web 2 e-commerce site. But if he's asking about the Web 3 clothing, what makes us different, I'm not really sure how to answer that, aside from what we already talked about in terms of we're providing very high quality merch for our partnering projects, and no one else is doing that on the scene. So it's essentially, we have access, and we're collaborating to create wearable merch that people actually like to wear in terms of the design, the quality, for all of our partnering projects.
Okay, yeah, that makes totally sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Diamond AF is asking, how long do you plan to contract with projects at a minimum?
No, that's actually really interesting. We haven't. Like I said, we're kicking off all of the partnership contracts, I guess, per se, all of our relationships, as we like to call them, we're nurturing them with a first, one-off exclusive merchandise drop. And again, the sole reason for that is before our mint, we have our NFT project that hasn't even minted out yet. We're doing our smart contracts, we're doing our website. And aside from that, we're starting to collaborate on the designs of the clothing for our exclusive merchandise partners. And we don't want to spread our bandwidth incredibly thin and just, come out and just absolutely not be able to handle everything that we promise. So right now, we're doing it obviously with the llamas, Illogics, Bento, etc. By kicking it off with an exclusive merchandise drop, whether a t-shirt or a hoodie is kind of what we're focusing on. But kind of like, and even the llamas touched on this in their roadmap 2.0. Like if you go into the roadmap 2.0, you see us in there. They mention us when it comes to their merchandise. They're all long-term partnerships. So whenever our project is coming to us, the merchandise that we're doing now initially is exclusive, that one-off drop. But we're all under the same impression that we're long-term. We're here, establishing these relationships to where it's not just this drop and it's on to the next. It's this drop and then let's collaborate on what we want to facilitate next for you and our community.
Okay, great. Now, there are a few more questions there, but before we do those, I'd like to get back to Peter so he can talk about the unique revenue sharing concept you have.
Beautiful. Excellent. All the fun stuff. Let's see. So I think that is another piece that really makes this project stand out is, again, as we're building this concept, the founders realized they wanted to allow holders of the MEE token to participate in the growth and success of the brand itself, of the entity itself. And so obviously there's many rules and regs out there about what you can do or really what you can't do. And as we unpack this, we realized that what we were going to do was take a piece of the company. We're still sort of finalizing numbers between 4 and 6% of the entity itself. And again, this is the Web2 clothing brand. This is really the parent company over everything. Take 5% of that, call it 4 to 6% of that, and assign that to an LLC. And that LLC would, anytime there's a distribution, and actually, before I even say that, one thing I want to note is that all of us are not on salary. We will do well if the brand does well. Actually, a large percentage of the mint will go directly into that brand, not directly to us, but again, the largest piece of that will go directly into that brand. So we all are believers and invested in the success of this brand as a whole. And so, how do we get paid? Well, when the company does well, and we've done some great collaborations and we've driven a ton of revenue, we decided to do a distribution. And a distribution is paid out to all the shareholders, including this LLC that is sitting there, set up to interact with anyone again that holds a MEE token in their wallet. And then what we do is, okay, this LLC, there's some tax burden to this method, but again, it allows us to be above board. That LLC then pays out those distributions to, again, essentially as a rev share, almost as if each individual that held one of the tokens was a vendor. They are then paid out their piece of that distribution, again, essentially passed through. It's not really distribution, it's essentially paid out just like you pay out a vendor. And then again, obviously, just like everything else, we encourage everyone to pay their taxes for again, any revenue derived from that. So this, go for it.
I was going to ask, if I receive that revenue, what are the tax implications for me? How would that be taxed?
Yeah, so again, because you're being paid out essentially as a vendor, it's hitting like an income tax. So depending on what state you're in, what country you're in, those all differ. But if you were to have a job at the coffee shop and you're paid X amount of dollars, there's going to be certain tax withheld. This is no different. Again, you're paid out as essentially a contractor, a vendor, by providing your support for the business and entity as it's scaled. So it's a and again, it does lead the downsides that impact us is sort of this double taxation, right? But the upside, which is well worth it in our opinion, is that all along the way, not just again if the company does well this year and we decide to do a big payout, but at some point, and this is what I love, is let's build this brand, let's build this company to $1 billion business, right? And at some point, we're going to say, okay, this has been incredible. Daniel, it's time for you to go buy a small island. And at that point, if we decided to sell the company, unless the distributions were so great that we wanted to roll with it, if we decided to sell the company, again, that LLC would take a large chunk of that, right? They're a stakeholder in the game. They would take a large chunk of that and again, start doing those payouts to all of the holders. Now, what this does mean is that this is not a short-term NFT investment. You will see return on it over time, and obviously, I believe because of the growth tied back to the growth of the company, the growth and value of the NFT tied back to the growth of the company, it will be valuable, and you could transact it if you wanted. However, those that are willing to stay in this game with us, as long as we're willing to stay in this game, are the ones that will participate in the largest amount of growth and value exchange. Again, throughout the process of scaling this brand to everything that it can become.
Okay, cool. So, how transparent are the money amounts first that you earn, and what gets transferred to the LC, and what gets paid out? How transparent is that process to the holders?
Yeah, so I'm happy to share me personally. I'm not going to overstep with anyone else, but I'll say that I believe when all said and done, the holders of the MEE NFT will actually be making more than I am. So the collective holders of the MEE NFTs will be making more than I am in the grand scheme here. So
I think he was asking, like, in terms of when the brand starts driving revenue, which is obviously going to be expected in terms of like our mint, our partnerships, and all the clothing that we do longer term for our partnerships and all the products that we end up partnering with. How will we, be transparent about, how much revenue the brand is driving, so that they know that they're not getting, they're aware of, like, this is actually the 4 to 6% of the revenue distributed to them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I mean, I can tell you again, based on corporate governance laws, that we could not do. There's no different classes of stock in this. As for lack of a better word, employees of the entity, we hold the same class so of stock as that LLC. So if we want to pay out Daniel as the core founder, that means that everyone else that holds any type of an equity position, including this LLC, the MEE NFT LLC, everyone needs to be paid out equally. So how a distribution works is if you have $100 million that you're paying out, and you have someone that owns, or an entity that owns 5% of that, that would be $5 million that's paid out to that entity. Okay, and then that entity is divvying it up. So there's really, again, we're looking for ultimate transparency in this, and even on top of that, there is no way for us to, and we wouldn't want to, in any way take advantage of anyone not getting their piece of the pie. Our moral compass and philosophy is a rising tide lifts all boats, right? It's all about community, and that is the core principles of the MEE NFT and the Born to Be Me clothing brand. So I hope that answers your question, but there will be ultimate transparency. You'll be able to see everything that's going on, again, as these distributions take place.
No, that's great. So I guess you have a high degree of confidence that the SEC will take a look at that and say, got no problems with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an important piece to touch on, right? There are going to be more regulations. I'm in regular touch with many of the individuals that are making those regulations, are deciding those regulations, are proposing those regulations. So we are doing everything in our power right now and successfully doing this in an above board manner. But I'm certain there will be more regulations that come down the pipeline. And I will tell you that when the dust settles, we will be standing tall, because we will continue to make sure that we uphold and do not break the rules that as they are set for this new emerging market. And as a taste of my experience in this, I was involved in the cannabis industry blowing up in America, right? And a lot of my buddies are probably names recognized for anyone that follows that industry. And I did the same thing that I'm doing in this market and that market, which was, how do you, for example, pay taxes on a cash business that's federally illegal, aka the cannabis market? And we figured it out, and we figured it out incredibly well. And again, many of the household names, like, again, for those that know, Wana and Cookies and Native Roots and Live Well, and even Select, right, through Cureleaf. Some of these brands here, I've been heavily involved with watching as they scale and grow, and made sure that we're following the same tactics to stay, again, above board and in line and in step as new regulations hit the books.
I really appreciate that you're trying something new in the space and finding a different or a new way to give holders value back and share your profits. I think that's really cool.
I think it's such a, again, I think that as we move forward in corporate governance in general, which is, again, for those that are not big nerds like I am, corporate governance is like the rules of engagement behind a company. We're going to see NFTs actually incorporated more and more into those systems. And the idea of NFT just for art is, it really is the tip of a very large iceberg that I am delighted to watch rise. So here we go. Strap in.
Great. Before I ask some audience questions, I have a marketing question maybe for SoFox, because you've got a few weeks before mint, and you've got a relatively small Discord at the moment.
Yeah.
And you're already experienced in creating videos, for instance, to reach out and have impact. Tell me more about your marketing strategy for the next few weeks.
Yeah, so we've got a few more partnerships to announce in terms of our official merchandise partners. So that's going to be one thing that we're kind of really focusing on, is kind of, driving the connections that we've made in this space with our official merchandise partners and who we will be supplying going forward. But also as well, I mean, we haven't really been opening up the Discord a great deal. I mean, just kind of touching back on the community that we was building earlier when I spoke, that was the most important thing. So now over the next, like you say, 2 to 3 weeks that we've got until mint, we're going to be opening up the Discord way more. I'm not going to go too much into the details, but just to expect our Discord to be open much longer and for much more people. But also as well, like I say, we're going to be touching on our official partnerships and some of the more collabs that we've got coming up in the pipeline too. But also as well, we haven't really been speaking about our utility and all the stuff that we spoke about in our AMA here too much, to be honest, other than in AMAs that we've been in, like with yourself here today. So we're actually going to be starting to, like Daniel touched on earlier, kind of start putting out our mint details and also our visual roadmap and website and all that kind of stuff as well. So we've hardly kind of spoke about that at the moment. So we've actually got our kind of real marketing push and strategies and tactics and stuff coming in the next few weeks. So everything we've done so far is kind of, like I touched on earlier, very slow and methodical. Whereas now it's like Peter said in there, we're getting ready to strap in and kind of showing everyone what we're all about. So
Oh, yeah, because obviously influencers are important. Has NFT Llama given you a shout out yet, or is that still to come?
On his Twitter or on his YouTube?
Or either, I don't know.
Yeah, no, we've been speaking to Llama. He's replied to a few of our posts and stuff, and Llamaverse themselves as well have put out their official partnership tweet with us as well. So yeah, we're looking at doing some more stuff. We've got more collabs with more influencers and more AMAs and stuff coming up too. So
Okay, that's good to know. Good to know indeed. Well, I'm going to go back to the questions, which have all the lists getting quite long here. Let me see, where was I? Second question from Diamond AF is, what would stop projects from going around me and dealing directly with the manufacturer?
Oh, that's a great question. So the way I got in contact with this manufacturer, and you can get into contact with manufacturers, the process is quite extensive in order to build a relationship with the manufacturer like the one we have a relationship with. It's not someone that you can just reach out to them and they're going to take you on as a client. You kind of have to have an in with them and develop a relationship, which I've been doing over the past 1.5 to 2 years through the clothing brand Born to Be Me on the Web 2 side. And it's also a fact that, a lot of the things that it's also going along, aside from that, it's more of a service as well. It's not fun dealing with, tech packs, going through learning what, all of this terminology is. These founders and these, communities have NFT projects they're trying to run, and they're offering highly, exclusive, high quality merchandise, and we can offer that service along with the fact that we can also offer a manufacturing service that I built a very, very strong relationship with over the past, year and a half.
Okay, great, thanks. Harry asking the next question. How does the clothing merch increase the value of this NFT? If I mint your NFT as a flipper, as not as a collector, how does this NFT increase in value?
So there. Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Let's see. So, in summary, there's a few values associated with this NFT, right? There's the inherent value of the art, and obviously the perception of the value based on the market, right? But outside of that, there's actually this you could almost call it a cash value of the NFT, and that's based on taking the value of the brand itself, right, of the Born to Be Me brand, and dividing that by 20. So let's look at 5% of that, and then dividing that by the number of holders of that NFT, and that'll bring you to a dollar amount, right? So outside of again, whatever the market value is, there's also this inherent value that's quote unquote, as we use in the industry, bankable, tied to a certain cash value based on that ownership percentage. Now that as that increases, as the valuation of that company increases, and again, I'm my night job is a private equity investor, so I'm invested in dozens of different companies. And what you want to see in private equity and investment is 10, 20, 30x. That's what you're really going for. So if you can imagine the cash value of the company today versus as Born to Be Me hits their stride and really scales this concept and across multiple industries, all of a sudden the cash value of that investment, if the business is 20xing, the cash value of that NFT is 20xing. And I'll tell you right now, I'm the guy that encourages the Me team to increase the price of their NFT because of how much value is associated just in cash value, and even outside of the art itself. So if you again put a 20x multiple on that, you can see how that could be astronomically larger in value. And again, if you're flipping it, really the bet you're making is how fast can this brand increase the value of their entity, and how fast do others see the uniqueness of this entity, and therefore the value of the perceived value of the NFT increases. You're betting on one of those variables is how I'd be making my investment if I was investing in a Me to flip. However, again, I'm in this for the long haul because I see this as a 30x plus. So let's party.
Okay. To follow up on that, something that's not clear to me is the connection between the Born to Me clothing and that you started a year and a half ago and the NFT.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is the Web2 clothing brand, Born to Be Me, was a brand that I had started, and it's going to remain a Web2 clothing brand. But we entered the space in an incredibly unique way, and it didn't allow us time, and it didn't allow me time to kind of, fully digest what the space was what it even was. So the Web2 clothing brand Born to Be Me is a separate entity not a separate entity, it's separated. The clothing from Born to Be Me is separated from what we're doing in our Web3 ventures, but all of it is like the Born to Be Me brand encompasses everything in terms of it encompasses the Born to Be Me clothing, and it encompasses all of our Web3 ventures.
Okay.
So again, all revs pass through that brand. And the MEE NFT holders essentially are a part of that brand.
So do the MEE NFT holders, do they benefit not only from the revenue from the NFT collaborations, but also from the revenue through the online shop?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, again, and it's all through a distribution model. But yes, all success of the brand, call it 5%, because 4 to 6% is wordy. But again, it's not set in stone. But right around 5% of all distributions that go through that parent would get kicked out to everyone that's a MEE holder. So it's really a way for us to take care of the community that's backing our Web3, incorporate the values that we've achieved in Web2, and kick that back out to, again, those holders on the Web3 side. So it's a little piece of everything is what they get.
Okay, great. Fing is asking, who is the clothing manufacturer?
Best
If
kept
you
secret.
want to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So Diamond.
It's a great question, though.
Yeah. Diamond AF is coming up with another question here. Who handles the physical distribution of the products from start to finish?
So, like what kind of touched on earlier, it basically is we sit down with the partnering project. We collaborate on a design, and through the collaboration on the design, after the design is settled on with the partnering project, I then sit down with the tech pack designer, and we build out a tech pack that handles the style, the quantity, the sizing, the material, the sizing of the designs, etc. And we then get that to the manufacturer. The manufacturer then manufactures the clothing. Then we handle the communication, make sure everything's going smoothly. They send us updates of the samples they're making, the first prints of the t-shirt, etc. And we handle the imports of that. And then when we get the clothing imported to us, we distribute it to our partnering project wherever they need it, wherever they are asking it to be distributed to, their 85-90% of their order. And however they distribute their clothing is on them, but the only thing that we ask them to do, and every one of our partners has to agree to, is they distribute their clothing exclusively to their communities, so that the only way that you can have access to these clothing drops is if you have a llama token or if you have a MEE token.
Okay, great. Next question from Benny Hill. How will you spend funds raised through a mint of NFTs? How will you spend those funds?
Yeah, I can touch on a little bit of this. I think maybe I'll start, and then I'm going to kick it back to you, Daniel. So I'll tell you right now, the funds required to scale and grow the Born to Be Me brand as a whole does not require the funds from the NFT project, the MEE drop, whatsoever. That is additive, and I'll kick back to Daniel to talk to that specific budget.
Yeah, so we kind of have, again, me and Peter have set up cap tables in terms of what kind of percent that we're driving back to the brand and etc. And we're really excited about all that opportunities that that's going to give us. But when it comes down to how we're spending, the funding of the NFT project, a lot of it is touched on in our utility that we're releasing this week in our roadmap, and I don't want to necessarily just dive right into that now because not even our Discord members are aware of some of those utilities. I'm trying to think of a way to word this and not try and dodge the question. We have a bunch of utilities planned. Some of it's going to go back into our marketing strategies in order for us to scale the brand. A really good thing is that our partnering projects, they handle the cost of the manufacturing for their exclusive drops, so we're not funding those. But yeah, most of the projects, percentage or most of the projects allocation towards what we get from Mint is going right back into how we're scaling the brand through our cap tables, and then how we're funding our utility, which we haven't fully released yet for our community yet.
Okay. And they can probably expect to see that if they join our Discord in the next 2 weeks. Is that realistic? Just give ourselves a
roadmap is being finalized, we're posting that, and again, we're rolling out all project details within this next week, and we're timing it up with our final pre-mint partnerships.
Okay, thank you. So next question, Maximilian asks, can you show us some of the fashion and give us an idea of what style the fashion you'll be selling is?
Yes, and so when it comes down to the fashion that we're selling in the pictures that I'm about to show now, actually, I'm going to post it in after, so I don't have to just keep adding photos into the Discord, but I'll send references. When it comes down to the style of what we're going to be selling, the references that I'm going to be sending are from our Web 2 clothing brand Born to Be Me, and that's just the style that I personally like, and that's the brand I'm trying to build. But when it comes down to our exclusive partnerships and what they're trying to do, the Llamas t-shirt might differentiate from what Bento and his project is trying to do with their hoodie. So it's going to be a plethora of different styles, of different, flavors of clothing, of different designs, streetwear to, more basic to more loungewear, more lifestyle, because we're collaborating with the creatives from these other projects, and what they want might differ from, what, the Llamas want, from what Illogix wants to what some of our other partners want. But I can definitely send some references in the chat on what our clothing looks like currently at the Web 2 clothing brand Born to Be Me, 100%.
Okay, so I've got a few more questions, but I'm going to pick this one especially, and I'd like to invite a few people up from the audience to ask you questions directly. You okay with that?
Yeah, 100%. Peter, do you have to kick off here anytime soon?
I actually planned accordingly and booked out an hour and a half, so we should be okay.
Sweet. So yeah, we're good for another 15 minutes here.
So this one question I think is a good one. You said you got the best clothing manufacturer. Is production environment friendly, and does it matter to you?
No, that's a really good question. We had the same question in our Illogix AMA and our Llamaverse AMA. So obviously, we never speak in absolutes. It's not the best clothing manufacturer. It's one of the top quality clothing manufacturers. Just getting that out of the way. And second, yes. And what I'm currently working on now is getting an environmental, I think, one of the members that asked us questions in the Illogix Discord also he joined our Discord, and he brought up, I forget the exact term he used, but it's like a environmental status update or environmental checker or something like that, to where we can kind of prove that the things that we're using are sustainable, and the things that and it is important to us. And again, I haven't, because all of my orders, again, I'm new in the clothing brand space. I'm building this. I got put onto this through, clothing brand networks that I've made through Denver, and then they're guilty by association with these other streetwear brands. So I was assuming that, these other brands that are affiliated with this manufacturer, that this manufacturer is doing things the right way, or they wouldn't be doing, business with them. But I'm working on trying to figure out a way to get a sustainability report or an environmental report, so that as we progress, that we can show these things and say that we're doing this the right way.
Okay, great answer. So we got Diamond AF up here. Hi.
Hey guys, thanks for joining. I know you don't have too much time, so I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. 5%, give or take, one is going to be attributed to this LLC in equity for NFT holders. And I believe earlier you said distribution fees would be distributed upon NFT holders. Are we talking just profits from shipping, like GP or net profit? How is that handled exactly?
Yeah, great question. So how we run this is, and normally this is done on once a year, and depending on the situation, maybe quarterly. But we'd look at it and we'd say, okay, great, we had a fantastic year. We made X amount of dollars. We want to distribute out to the shareholders, and note that again, this is how Daniel gets paid, right? This is how we all get paid. We want to distribute out to the shareholders. Let's call it 3 or whatever it is. If we made 10, we want to invest a bunch back into the brand to scale it to hit even bigger numbers next year. And we decide let's distribute 3, right? So we take that 3 million, or for the sake of easy math, let's call it 10 million. We distribute that out to all the shareholders. So of that, 500,000 goes out to this brand, and to the LLC, and then that is distributed. So it's not like it's calculated off of every single specific sale, but as we close up our books, again, either on a quarterly basis or annualized basis, and we say we want to do a dividend payout, we have to make the decision. The executives, everyone's trusting in the executives to make the decision on how much do we reinvest into the company to scale it to the next level, and how much are we going to pay out to shareholders so that Daniel can keep doing this. All right. So it's really set up to be incredibly fair, and as long as it's structured in such a way where that's how capital is leaving those accounts, is through that distro share, all of the MEE holders will participate based on essentially the ownership percentage of that LLC in the success of the brand at a whole. Does that answer your question?
Partially. So to be clear, it's not a percentage of revenue. We're talking profits here, right?
Yeah, it actually really comes down to how much that brand is willing to distribute. So technically, it's not tied to profits or revenue, right? I have seen rare cases where a company's taken on, let's say, 100 million in investment, and they actually run a distro and say, we're going to pay out, 5-6% of that to everyone that's got it to this place where we've seen that. So that's not even technically revenue, that's investment, and yet still there's a distribution. So a distribution comes when the company is doing well, and it is what fuels those distributions are the revenues that are driving into that company, sub-COGS, leaving us with our profits, right? And those profits, then you look at and say, okay, well, of these profits, we want to spend X amount just to scale the brand to the next level. We're going to take a piece of that and we're going to distribute it, if that makes sense.
No, I'm sorry. I totally get that. I don't know if maybe I misunderstood earlier when you guys used the word distribution. So it wasn't a portion of distribution fees. It was you were stating distribution of
correct. Yeah, exactly. You got it.
Currency you would be okay. So that was a misunderstanding.
100%.
So.
Yep. Yeah, and there's no additional fees that we'd be like tagging on or anything like that. That would be shady. All that I will note is, again, we all got to pay Uncle Sam or whoever our uncle is, right? And so we'll pay the taxes on our side to make sure it's above board. And then we, obviously, again, I'm not a certified tax accountant, but I would suggest that everyone pay their taxes, especially as we see more and more regs come into this space. So,
okay, I'm gonna wrap this up with one last thing. So you said if the company's doing well, so you would say net profit is what the percentage would be based on when dividends would be distributed to holders, or not even dividends, but just their portion allotment.
Yep, exactly. You got it. And I can tell you with this type of a business, and having seen a variety of other businesses that do this work, what's beautiful is there's not a ton of overhead. Again, when we look at our spends, a lot of it goes into the marketing spend, but through collaborations like what we're talking about, a lot of that marketing spend is actually through the collaboration partner. So our overhead stays relatively low, and our cost of goods sold is not fronted, right? So the collaborations are essentially paying for their merch, and we're taking a piece of it. With the clothing brand itself, that we do take on some overhead for inventory, but it's a I guess in my world, it's an incredibly stable market as a good versus other markets I've seen. So the risk on that inventory is relatively low. So we do count that as an asset on the balance sheet. And I don't want to bore everyone with too deep of, and honestly, if you want to connect with me, I'm happy to go into this as deep as you'd like to. I can.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd like to let someone else come up here. I feel like I'm taking up so much time between my questions outside and inside this chat. So I'm going to hop out, but thank you for addressing my questions.
Diamond, I just turned off you can invite me as a friend real quick. I'm going to turn it back on here in a moment. And then we can DM about this.
Great, thanks, Diamond. Cool questions. Anyone else want to come up on the stage? While we're waiting, did you drop a Discord link yet?
So Fox, get them active, bro. I was busy. I was dropping some references to some clothing that I designed for the Web 2 clothing brand Born to Be Me in there.
Right.
When Born to Be Tesla. That was actually funny.
Let's go.
So, tell me, where do you see the Born to Me brand being in 2 years' time?
Great question. I think, the possibilities are so endless. This is such a cool opportunity to be involved in a space like this because, how we're entering, the Web 2 space aside from the Born to Be Me brand. Is we're kind of trying to pioneer a way, a service, pioneer a partnership collaboration service that isn't being offered yet, and it's a space where it needs to be offered in most instances because every project that we talk to and every person we bring this up to, they're very their eyes light up as soon as we tell them like what our project is and what we're doing and how we officially partner with these other projects. So when it comes to like the success of the MEE NFT, which is under the Born to Be Me clothing brand as a whole, the sky's the limit, I personally think. There's always going to be new projects coming out. There's always going to be, the next, fill in the blank, the next big thing in terms of a project. And if we're coming onto the scene, we're going to knock these first merchandise partnerships out of the park, and we're going to start making a name for ourselves. And people are going to say, oh, the collaboration between MEE NFT and, Llamaverse, or, the collaboration between me and Logix, or me and insert a name here. That's going to be, the next, basically what we're trying to do is we're bringing the attitude of, how similar to how the Web 2 clothing brands and the Web 2 brands operate, when Dior will partner with, Jordan, or Nike will partner with Travis Scott. And those are exclusive drops, and people go crazy for them. The FOMO is there, the hype's there, it's limited edition, it's collectible. We're trying to bring that same ideology and that same attitude towards clothing in the NFT space and the collaborations that we're coming with. So when someone sees a MEE NFT in collaboration with blank, they'll have that same feeling, that same FOMO, that same collectible, limited edition, high quality, got to get my hands on it type of ideology. So I think there's massive room for growth there. And Peter, I don't know if this is something that you also want to touch on in terms of like where we could take this, and kind of like, I don't know how you see us growing over the next 2 years.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, you got big clothing brand. I guess the The end game, it's, how do I say this? It's not going to be over $36 billion in valuation in 2 years. No, I'm kidding slightly. That's like when we talk about the larger clothing brands. Let's see, like what would be, that'd be like Nike or like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, those types of players. They're, again, 15 to $30 billion valuations. But even so, right now, we're still a young brand. Over the next 2 years, and I want to say our valuation is in the 6 million range. Is that somewhere where we were sitting? So when you look to the future of what's coming down the pipe, again, a nice solid 10x, which would be a home run, by the way, in private equity, over 2 years would put us at 60. Do I think we can be over that considerably? Yeah, I'd like to see us breaching $100 million brand in the next 2 years. What's that going to take? That's going to take an incredible community supporting us. That's incentivized and activated to see our success. That's going to take the word of mouth that comes along with it. That's going to take a large marketing budget. That's going to take some serious capital raises, which we have on the docket and planned. So this is not necessarily a small lift, but we've lifted these rocks before. We know what this is like, and we can do this again and again. And our focus and priority rate, is on the Born to Be Me brand. So I don't know. I'd say 60 to 100 is probably our goal for the next, call it 2 to 3 years. 60 to 100 million.
Okay, that's great. That's very cool. And that would be what, 5-10% of that, or at least the profits of that going to the LC, back to the holders.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pretty exciting piece of the puzzle, right? And I think that's what, again, there's a lot of NFTs out there. Haven't heard of any where you can see that growth due to the value of an entity, not just the value of that perception, right? So for me, it's a more stable yet just as fast of a rocket ship to take off if we can all do this right, and that includes everyone that's dropping into Discord right now. So onward.
Yeah, I think once you get your clothing out there and the projects get it and the holders of the projects get it, then it's going to make quite some.
I think there'll be some noise out there for us.
Noise, that's the word. So regarding that, there's a question from Benny Hill here. He asks, "Is your merchandise will it be available to purchase on projects marketplaces? For example, can I buy some for Spit at Llamaverse?"
Yeah, so again, that is something that we initially talked about with the llamas, but again, it's when it comes to, we're not going to handcuff our projects and how they want to distribute their merch exclusively. I think it's very safe to assume that if a project has a marketplace, as efficient as, the llamas do, or, as a Logix do, that once the merch drops, these exclusive merch drops are distributed and they start distributing it back to the community, you can expect the merch to be available on the marketplaces that our partnering projects have set up for their communities. But again, how they distribute it to their communities is 100% on them. The only thing that we have them barring into is the fact that they have to distribute it exclusively, so that's not something that you can just get your hands on, even if you don't own one of the NFTs.
Okay, great. So we've had quite a few questions from the audience and from me. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to mention now?
I'm trying to think. Braxton, SoFox, you guys got anything? I've talked a lot, so I feel like in my head I'm good. But if you guys got something,
I was just about to say, y'all have been asking some really good questions that we haven't been asked yet. So it's been super cool to get to answer some of these questions, and we appreciate the in-depth of questions and you guys willing to ask these type of questions, because I don't know, some people haven't been asking them, so it's been super cool to answer them and kind of get you guys more knowledgeable on our project.
Oh, there's a lot of interest here in the project. I have that feeling. That's great.
Yeah. And Peter, I know you kind of have to go off, so sorry.
Well, I was going to say the only thing we're missing is Daniel putting on a fashion show for us, but
yeah,
I guess we'll have to hold that for the next
and
day,
model
right?
for you guys in our Discord a little later tonight on VC.
There we go.
If you guys
Let's
want
go.
to
Okay. Well, I think that about wraps it up. And thank you very much for coming and telling us about your project. And we all wish you well for the next few weeks in your mint.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, thank you for having us. It's been great speaking to you guys. Like you say, what you guys have been building here in the community you've got's great. So yeah, pleasure.
Okay, great. And feel free to take a look around the server and how the Nuggets roll.
Appreciate you, Mark. Thank you so much.
You're a god of my man, Mark. Thank you.
go in depth and trying to take some things to our community from the Nuggets. So again, appreciate you guys. It's been a blessing to talk to you. Thank you.
If you like this AMA, reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get access to our future AMAs. You can also follow us on Twitter @NuggetsNifty, and make sure to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We'll see you all next time.